Latitude and longitude, two words that show up on the Part 107 test almost every single time, and two words that quietly fail a huge chunk of people who never actually learn how to read them. Not because the concept is hard, because nobody ever breaks it down in plain English. So that's what we're doing right now. Here's the simple version. Every single point on planet Earth has an address. Just like your house has a street number, a spot on a sectional chart has a coordinate. That coordinate is made up of two numbers, latitude and longitude. Once you understand what each one is actually measuring, you will never mix them up again. Let's start with latitude. Latitude lines are flat. They run side to side, left to right, like the rungs of a ladder stacked on top of each other. In fact, that's the easiest way to remember it. Latitude, ladder, flat lines stacked up and down the globe. These lines measure how far north or south you are from the equator. The equator sits at 0 degrees. As you move up toward the North Pole, the number climbs toward 90. As you move down toward the South Pole, it climbs toward 90 in the other direction. So latitude answers one question: how far up or down am I? Now flip that around for longitude. Longitude lines run the other way. They go from the top of the globe to the bottom, pole to pole, like slices cut into an orange. Long lines, longitude. They measure how far east or west you are from a fixed starting point called the prime meridian, which runs straight through Greenwich, England. That's 0 degrees longitude. Move east, the number climbs. Move west, the number climbs the other direction. So longitude answers a different question: how far left or right am I? Put those two numbers together and you've pinpointed one exact spot on Earth. No guessing, no ambiguity, just a precise location that air traffic control, pilots, and drone operators can all agree on. Now here's where the test gets specific. Coordinates aren't written as simple decimals most of the time. They're broken into degrees, minutes, and seconds. Think about a clock. 60 seconds make a minute. 60 minutes make a degree. If you can read a clock, you already know how to read a coordinate. A location might be written as 29 degrees, 30 minutes, 15 seconds north. That's not three random numbers. That's one precise address broken into smaller and smaller pieces, the same way an hour breaks down into minutes and seconds. On a real sectional chart, you won't usually see a full grid drawn across the whole page. Instead, you'll see small tick marks along the border of the chart. Each tick represents a fraction of a degree. To find a location, you trace a line straight up or down from the nearest latitude tick, and a line straight across from the nearest longitude tick. Where those two lines cross, that's your point. Let's walk through how this actually shows up on the test. You'll often be given a specific airport or landmark on a chart excerpt and asked to identify its coordinates. Or the question flips it around, giving you coordinates and asking which airport or feature sits at that exact location. Either way, the skill is the same. Trace latitude first. Narrow down your answer choices. Then trace longitude to confirm. Here's a trick that saves people every single time. On the test, the answer choices are almost always close to each other on purpose. That's not an accident. The FAA wants to know if you actually traced the lines or if you just eyeballed it and guessed. So don't rush this. Trace latitude carefully first. That alone should eliminate half your answer choices. Then trace longitude to break the tie between whatever's left. Orientation matters too. On a sectional chart, north is always toward the top of the page. East is always toward the right. If an answer choice would put you moving in a direction that doesn't make sense based on where you are on the chart, you've already spotted a wrong answer without even doing the math. One more trap that catches people off guard. Coordinates are always written latitude first, then longitude. Lat before long. Same order every time, alphabetical if that helps you remember it. If you flip that order in your head during the test, you'll end up looking in completely the wrong place on the chart, and you'll pick an answer that feels close but is actually miles off. Quick pause. If this is actually clicking for you, hit subscribe now, because we're building your entire Part 107 knowledge base one video at a time, and you don't want to miss the next one. Let's put it all together with a real example. Say you're asked to find the approximate coordinates of an airport on a chart excerpt. First step, locate the airport symbol. Second step, trace straight up or down to the nearest latitude tick mark on the border and note that number. Third step, trace straight across to the nearest longitude tick mark and note that number. Fourth step, match those two numbers against your answer choices, latitude first, longitude second. That's the entire process. 4 steps done the same way every single time you see this question type. The reason this topic trips people up isn't difficulty. It's that most study guides throw the definition at you once and move on, without ever showing you the actual test format. Once you've traced a chart with your own hand a few times, this becomes automatic. Your eyes start recognizing the tick marks instantly, and you stop second-guessing yourself. So here's your takeaway. Latitude is flat like a ladder, and it tells you how far north or south you are. Longitude is tall like orange slices, and it tells you how far east or west you are. Coordinates are written in degrees, minutes, and seconds, just like a clock. And on the test, latitude always comes first. Master those 4 facts, and this question type goes from a coin flip to an easy point every time it shows up. Before we move on, drop a comment with the coordinates of an airport near you, just for practice, and while you're down there, tap that like button. It genuinely helps this video reach more people studying for the same test as you. Understanding coordinates is only half the picture, though. Once you know where you are on a chart, the next skill is knowing what that location is actually telling you about the airspace above it, and how airports communicate with aircraft that don't even have a radio on board. That's a completely different kind of test question, and it trips up just as many people, for a completely different reason.